Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Now we're going to be working on that BMW 760 Ally again. So if you guys saw one of my previous videos where I replaced the front track rod assemblies, then took it for a wheel alignment and was told that they could not adjust the rear toe, which essentially is the toe adjustment is the direction in which the wheels are pointing. So on the rear, essentially, well, I don't really know the angle that they're at, but they could be at this angle or whatever, but obviously they want to be pointing dead straight, or at least within the specification that, you know, BMW recommends. And yeah, they couldn't adjust the rear toe because the bolts, the eccentric bolts in the rear toe arms had actually seized. And this is actually a pretty common problem for BMW 5 and 7 series of the same era, because I actually suffered the same issue on my BMW E60, and funnily enough I actually kept the arms when I replaced them on my BMW E60. This is them here, so these are actually used, but if you take a look at them, they're actually still in very good condition. I mean, like the ball joints, they are solid. These bushes themselves, no cracking at all. Like, I actually replaced these, but you know, on the BMW 5 series, but I didn't actually need to. I could have literally just removed them, cleaned them up and re-greased the eccentric bolts, and that's kind of what I've done with these. And yeah, so essentially I'm just going to be installing these today on the 7 series, because yeah, they are the exact same part number on the 5 series and the 7 series. They share many of the same part numbers. I think they actually have the same rear subframe setup as well. So yeah, we're going to be installing these today and then taking it for another wheel alignment. So without further ado, let's get outside and let's get cracking. Okay then, so as you can see, we have the 760 Ally up in the air. Now obviously we just need to focus on the rear, and I'll show you where the rear toe adjusting arms are located. It is actually just this one right in front of us, just here. Now if we have a look at the original bush on this side, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see in here, but this bush has actually cracked up a bit, and the replacement one is nothing like this. So yeah, you can actually see some corrosion coming through there as well, where it's turned white. So yeah, it's this eccentric bolt which goes from there to there, which is essentially just seized in the metal sleeve inside of the bush. That's why they can't adjust it essentially. But yeah, that's that side. And if we take a look down here, let's try and get a light so we can see better in here. That's better. Yeah, if we see this side, yeah, it's looking a bit crusty, isn't it? I plan to just remove this the conventional way, the proper way, you know, just using wrenches and sockets. But if it's just easier and quicker to just cut this thing off, then I will do so. Yeah, it's great doing it the proper way, but you know, if you're going to save time by literally just, you know, sawing it off, then that is what I'm going to do, because yeah, we're not about taking more time than we need to. First thing I'm going to do though is just completely soak this in some penetrating oil, just to give us any chance of removing it. To be honest, like, this side doesn't look too bad to remove. I mean, the nut, we only have to move it off a small piece of thread, but I think the difficult side is going to be the ball joint side here, but we'll see. So before I start to try and remove either one of those nuts, I think what I'm going to do is actually jack up the suspension arm just to take the tension off of this arm here, because I think at the moment, I think this is actually holding the suspension arm in place. So I think if I can take the weight off it, it's going to make it quite a bit easier to remove. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start on the ball joint end. Like I said, I think this is going to be the most difficult of the two ends to remove. and the nut is a 16mm. I'm going to get a wrench on there. I'll give this a few taps. That got it? Or did that just round it off? I don't think it rounded. Well, I hope it didn't. That seemed a bit easy though. Let's get the old ratchet spanner on there. Yeah, it's definitely undoing. Just a case of whether or not the ball joint is moving now. And yes, it is. So, managed to crack the nut loose, but now when I tried to remove it, it's just spinning the entire ball joint. Okay, so I have tried a few different methods to stop the ball joint from spinning. I've tried to put a wrench on the end, tried a 6mm, that's too small. Tried a 7mm, that seems too big. And I also tried a 1/4 inch, which I guess is somewhere in the middle, and this doesn't want to go on. So yeah, oh, I've even tried some vice grips on there as well, but it just doesn't want to hold it. It just ends up starting to chew the end of that thread up. So yeah, I think it's just going to be easier just to cut the nut off and go from there. I mean, for the sake of a small grinding disc and what, a couple of minutes to remove that, it's probably the easiest option, to be honest. Okay then, so as you can see, pretty much remove the entire nut. So I'm pretty sure that the ball joint side will come out of the hub once I have this side removed. I think I just need to give that a good tap and then it should come out then. But yeah, let's try and get this eccentric bolt removed. Okay, so again, the nut side and the bolt side are both 16mm, so I'm going to try and crack the nut loose first. I think once I crack it loose, I think when I go to undo it, I think the whole bolt is just going to turn then. So yeah, crack it loose and then hold the bolt stationary, and I should be able to remove the nut off then. Let's try and crack it loose. Okay. Oh, that didn't seem very tight. Let's crack the nut loose. Let's see if the bolt itself spins now. The bolt's not turning. Does this mean that the nut's just going to come off? I hope so. Yeah, I think the nut's just coming off. I guess it's because the bolt itself is seized into the sleeve. Makes my life easier. Okay then, that is the nut removed. I just got to try and lever the bolt out. Okay then, so let me explain. You guys saw that I removed this nut and it came off fairly easy, and that is because I was right. The eccentric bolt was fully seized into the bush inside of here, so I could not seem to knock the bolt itself off, which, where's the end of it? Which, this is the end. I could not seem to knock this out because, like I said, it was fully seized into that bush. I tried putting a wrench on this and winding it out, you know, manually, but all that was happening is the bush itself inside of here was just rotating. It was just spinning the bush itself, so there was no way of separating the bolt from the bush, like I said, because it had fully seized into this sleeve here. So what I'd done is got the angle grinder out, cut the arm itself in half, which was very easy because this is just aluminium, and then what I'd done was cut either side of the bush. This dropped out and I could just remove the bolt nice and easy. So yeah, angle grinders, they definitely save you time. It really just wasn't worth it, and there was actually a risk of me damaging the subframe itself as well. I didn't want to apply too much pressure onto you know, levering the bolt up, because if I did, there was a good chance that these lugs here on the subframe was going to snap, because again, this is only aluminium, and if these snap, then you pretty much need to replace the entire subframe, which, yeah, I do not feel like doing. But yep, the original arm is now out. Let's go ahead and install the new one. Okay then, so let's slide the new arm in place. You need to put the ball joint side in first. That's went in nice and easy. And this bush side just pushes up into place. You can install the bolt. As you can see, nice and covered, so it can't get seized into that bush again, because yeah, this is not a job you want to do twice. That's it. Okay then, so as you can see, the replacement arm is now in position. That's the nut and the eccentric bolt tightened down, and the ball joint end has been tightened down as well. Now we just need to do all of that again on the other side. And just like that, this side is done as well, and this side was 10 times easier to replace, and I know why. So this is the arm that I removed from this side. As you can see, it is still in one piece, and that's because I managed to remove it the proper way by putting a wrench on the end there and then just winding the nut off. And then this, the eccentric bolt, as you can see, it is still quite badly corroded, but it wasn't you know, seized into the bush, so to speak. And I've noticed that this is actually a 2015 suspension arm, so this was replaced. Now, why someone would only replace one suspension arm, no idea. You should always replace suspension components, suspension arms, springs, whatever it is, in pairs. And this is why. So one was replaced, the other one on the other side, that was still the original, and that's why it's ended up looking like that. And with both of those suspension arms now replaced, time to get this car back on the ground and take it through a wheel alignment. Okay then guys, so just got back from a wheel alignment on the BMW 760 Ally, and honestly the car drives spot on now. You know, the work that we've done so far in terms of the handling, the brakes and all the rest of it really has paid off, because yeah, like I said, it drives absolutely amazing, you know, as you would expect really from a BMW 7 Series. I guess next we should start focusing on the, you know, engine side of things, get all that nice and sorted, and obviously fix the eluding issue with the dynamic drive system. Yeah, we need to really get that fixed as well. But yeah, another job done today. Car drives absolutely spot on now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in that next one. Peace!